Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Bella Edgley. I'm an artist based in the south of England and I talk mostly about watercolour painting here on my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to talk about water control and I'll be talking about the wet and wet technique and controlling edges. This is going to be a beginner friendly demonstration, so let's get started. Hello, okay, so for this demonstration I'm not going to do a finished painting. I'm going to do some little circles and I'm going to use the backs of some reject paintings, but I'm actually going to just cut out part of the paintings that I did like, and then I'll be painting on the back of those. So it's always good to keep your reject paintings because you can use them for tests, and then the parts of the paintings you like, you can always stick them in a sketchbook. That's what I'm going to be doing with those parts. This also gives me an opportunity to talk about the fact that I've got this Arches paper, which is 100% cotton, which I would recommend if you're able to get 100% cotton paper. It doesn't have to be Arches. And I'm actually going to be using the other side, and you can use both sides of your watercolour paper. In the case of Arches, it's slightly different on the back than on the front. That one I'm just going to use the whole of the back of that, and I'll cut this part of this painting off because I also liked that part, and then I'll use the back of that. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces of paper here, and I'm going to use each one of them to demonstrate a different aspect of water control and edges. Okay, so because I painted on the other side of these pieces of paper, they're not completely flat. If you want to flatten paper like this, you can wet it and put it under some books, but I'm just going to use it like this. Now I'm just going to bring the camera a little bit closer. Now I've got a variety of brushes here. Now my son's actually taken the watercolour brush that I would have used. This is actually an acrylic brush, but that's okay for the purposes of this demonstration. Now the colours that I'm using, I've picked these up quite randomly. I've got cobalt blue, French ultramarine, transparent yellow, and a bloodstone genuine, which is a granulating colour. I've tried to pick colours with different properties because I want to be able to talk about how the property of the paint affects the way that the water and the paint work together. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to use the French ultramarine to illustrate this point, is that your paint will behave differently depending on how much water you put in the mix and how much paint you put on the paper. So I'm going to just make a circle, and I'm going to put quite a uniform amount of colour down. Okay, so that, when it dries, will make quite a uniform shape where the colour is going to be quite evenly spread across the whole shape. But if I put a bit more water in there and use quite a lot of paint when I make my circle and make it really quite watery, this isn't actually a watercolour brush, so it's not holding an awful lot of water. I think I'm going to swap it for this one. Okay, so this is a watercolour brush. It's holding more of the water than that one that's made for acrylics. Now, I'm putting a lot of water down on here. Watery paint is more accurate. And I'm going to leave that to dry. But it will dry differently to the shape above. And while I'm just waiting for that to dry, I want to talk about another aspect of water control in watercolour painting, and that is why blooms occur. So I'm going to draw this shape on here, this circle. Okay, now that's just quite evenly spread. It's not soak up a little bit of that paint there. It's not very, very wet, but it is still wet. I'm talking about this shape down here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my transparent yellow and I'm going to wait a little bit of time for this to dry, and then I'm going to get a lot of water in that transparent yellow mix, and I'm going to touch that to the edge of that shape. Now that's really very watery paint gone on top of paint that's not quite so wet, and that really wet water is going to push into the drier area and it's going to take some of that blue pigment with it and we'll get a bloom, and once that's dry you'll be able to see that. In actual fact you can see it happening already. Okay, so while this dries I am going to speed up this recording. Okay, so this is more or less dry now and you can see how the first shape has gone on very evenly. Now the second shape, it doesn't quite have the exaggerated line around the outside that I was hoping for, but you can see that by adding a lot more water I've got a completely different sort of finish to that. In fact, the granulating effect of that paint is showing through a lot more, and then obviously where the water and the pigment has pooled there I've got a darker patch. It's not to say that one is more correct than the other, it depends what you're trying to do in your painting, but it's worth understanding the amount of water you use will affect how the paint looks when it dries. And then I've got my bloom here, generally to be avoided, but sometimes we want intentional blooms, so it's useful to understand how that occurs as well. Now, something that's just occurred to me is that it could be that I get a different effect on the second one if I paint on the other side of the paper because it's more smooth. So I'm actually just going to cut a little bit off my other painting. So this is a smoother side and this is a rougher side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use phthalo turquoise this time, and I'm going to try and demonstrate what I mean about getting this edge on a very wet circle where the pigment collects. Now this phthalo turquoise is a very strong colour. I probably didn't need to put quite so much in my palette, but it's okay because I can reuse that later. So I'm going to get really, really watery paint and I'm going to do a circle on this paper. It's very, very wet. And I'm going to do also a circle on this paper. So those two, there's a lot of water in those circles and I'm going to leave them to dry. Okay, so let's get on to the next set of circles, and this is going to be about painting wet on wet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3 painted circles ready on my paper, and I'm going to start with a circle that's just going to really sort of make the paper damp but not very wet. I don't know if you can see that there. Then the next one I'm going to do is going to be wet, a bit wetter than the first one. So you can see that's got a shine on it still. That one is really starting to dry quite quickly. And then below I'm going to do a very, very wet circle. I don't really have much space for that. I'll have to make it a bit more of an oval shape. Now I need to work quite quickly to get my paint down. I'm going to use the phthalo turquoise and I'm just going to put a blob of that in the middle of that first area. Now I'm going to put a blob on the second, and now I'm going to put a blob on the third. Okay, so you could do many more stages of dampness to wetness of the paper. I've just done 3. The important thing is that I've got exactly the same amount of water to paint ratio on my brush, and you can see that where the paper is just damp, that shape spreads just a little bit. Where the paper is, you would really say wet, it's spread a lot. And then where the paper is really wet, it's completely lost its form. If that shape was bigger, it would be going all over the place. Okay, so how much your shape spreads when you're doing the wet and wet technique depends on the wetness of the paper and the wetness of your brush. Now you can experiment with this and try varying the amounts of water that you're adding to the paper and adding to the paint. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is edges and modifying edges once you've already got the paint down. Okay, so I'm going to do a wet on dry shape. I think for this I'll use the French ultramarine. I'll use a mix of the French ultramarine and the transparent yellow. I'm going to make a green. Okay, so I've got a nice mix of paint to water there, not too watery, but enough water in it to get a nice even shape down. I'm going to paint 2 circles the same. And then what I'll do is I'll modify the edges of those circles. But the top one, I'm going to modify it while it's wet. And the bottom one, I'll go in and modify it when it's dry. Okay. Okay, so to modify the top circle, I am actually going to use my acrylic brush. That's just because I have it to hand. Okay, so I've got water on my brush and I'm going to run it around the edge of that circle. And then I'm able to modify the edge of that circle. Now I've still got quite a hard line on there, so I'm going to get some clean water. And I'm going to run the clean water around the edge. If we can completely blend that edge into the paper, like that. Now what I'll do is I'll let this one dry. But while these are drying, I may as well use the opportunity to just drop a little bit of paint into the center. Now I don't want to add too much water, I don't want to get a bloom. So I've added a bit more paint to water ratio than I did with the green. And I'm just going to blob a bit of that in the middle. Now I feel like I might end up getting a bloom with that. Let's see. Okay, let's just let that green shape below dry now. Okay, so this circle is dry now, and I'm going to go back in and see if I can modify the edge once it's dry, because this is something that you might want to do in a painting. You might decide that you want to have a softer edge to a shape after you've painted it and after it's dried. So you can soften the edge, by doing that. That edge is now looking softer. Let's see if we can soften it more. This is sort of re-wetting it. Now it's important to understand that some paint will re-wet better than others. This has got the transparent yellow in, which is probably quite staining, which isn't allowing me to re-wet it as much as a different type of paint might. But I'm definitely able to modify that edge, you might want to lift off some of the paint that's gone onto the outside, or you might want to leave it. And what's happened here is I'm getting a line in the middle. So you might want to go over the whole shape. Okay, so I have softened this shape, but as you can see, in a completely different way to the first shape, where it's it's really spread out quite a lot. Okay, so it's not to say that one is better than the other, it's just a different effect, and it depends when you're doing your painting what kind of effect you want to achieve. Let's just do a quick recap. So this was the first exercise, this was the second, and this was the third. So you can see that where I did these two experiments, I do have a much harder line. Now there's not much difference between the front and the back of the paper, but I think it's important to understand that the paper will affect how your paint behaves and the finished result. So you can experiment with different types of paper. Then we've got the three circles I did here. This is a very smooth finish with an even amount of water. Here I used a lot of water, and that's really brought out the granulating effect of that blue ultramarine. And then I've got a bloom here, which I did by adding lots of water on top of a damp but not very wet circle. And then what we've got here is we've got our wet and wet experiment. So we were moving from damp paper through to very, very wet. And you can see that makes a huge difference to what happens to the paint when you add it to those different surfaces. Now, the paint was the same consistency, but you can experiment with the consistency of the paint as well as the wetness of the paper. And then here we experimented with modifying the edges, one when the circle was damp and one when it was dry. I hope you can apply some of the principles that we've talked about in this demonstration to your own painting. You may have already known about them. I think it's good just to have a little recap, hopefully. And in my next video, I'll be doing a painting exercise using these principles. So from here in the UK, thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.